Hey, what's up, stackers? Before we jump into this video, I wanted to share that my 55,000 subscriber silver giveaway entry video is live. You can go enter right now. The link is in the description or the pinned comment. May the luckiest stacker win. Hey, what's up, stackers? This is Silver Slayer. Welcome to your daily silver stacking video. Thank you so much for tuning in. Now, the question of how much silver do you need has always fascinated me. I mean, do you have enough silver? How much silver is enough for you? It definitely, it's an individual type of question. It's going to base, every single person's going to have a different answer, but how much do you need? How do we even figure that out? Well, I have that opportunity for you to figure that out in this video because it's going to go over how many ounces of silver we need to cover expenses during a financial crisis. And it goes over your monthly expenses and how much silver you need to cover from 6 months up to 5 years. We're not just going to cover it from that perspective, though. We're also going to go into how much do you just need. Like this guy says, like to have his body weight in silver. Now, regardless, this is a real question, and it should be taken seriously. And I really want all of you to participate. Let me know what you think is enough as well, and I'll share mine at the end of the video. Links in the description for both of these articles. How much gold and silver is needed for a financial crisis? Here's how much gold and silver you need. And the thing I like about this is a lot of times these articles never say an actual number. They will always beat around the bush. And I hate that. That's why I picked this article, because there's real numbers to look at. Most of you reading this are already convinced of the need to own gold and silver. But as you continue to accumulate, a question naturally arises: how much do you need? And another good question is, what price will you sell at? You know, those are things we don't really think about. We're just aimlessly buying. But it is nice to be prepared or have some type of goal, since it is called a silver stacking strategy. We're strategizing. Imagine the sick feeling in your gut if we get to the next financial crisis and you suddenly realize you didn't buy enough bullion to get through it. For this reason alone, it's worth thinking about how many ounces you might need. And another point is, sorry I keep breaking off, but every time I do break off, there's something important I'm saying. I don't just ramble. A really important thing to take note is when we really put it down with pencil to paper. While we think we have a lot of silver, you really don't. Once we do the calculations, it's shocking. I remember before I did a video like this, and it was shocking to see how much we really need. And I'm actually going to bust out my calculator and show you guys, because from someone who's washing dishes compared to someone who is maybe in their 60s or ready to retire, the difference in return is astronomical when you're looking at how much silver you have. One person might be cool with making a $10,000 profit. Someone else, that might not be enough. So we really got to look at this. So I wanted to show this chart because it really does put things in perspective, especially when you look at the time frame. So just look at what category you're in, and it kind of gives you an idea. So if you have $500 in monthly expenses, that would be 25 ounces of silver per month, which would be in 6 months, 150 ounces of silver you would need. But in 5 years, that would be 1,500 ounces. Now, I'm sure most of us have more than $500 of expenses a month. So let's look at something realistic, probably around 3,000. For me, it's around, well, actually, it's a lot higher. It's probably $3,000 to $4,000 in expenses a month. So that's 200 ounces per month, which would get around 1,200 ounces of silver to last me 6 months, but I would need around 12,000 ounces of silver to last 5 years during a crisis. A $500 a month supplement would need 300 ounces of silver to get through 1 year, or 1,500 ounces for 5 years. So, of course, we can both use gold and silver to meet expenses. For $1,000 a month, you'll need 9 ounces of gold and 600 ounces of silver to get through a 2-year crisis period. So, and this is a good point. These amounts may look high, but keep in mind, if you don't save in silver and gold now, you'll be forced to spend a whole lot more in currency later. And that's the whole point, I think, of that is, gold and silver is timeless, right? It's like putting your money in a time capsule. So if you don't invest in the precious metals, the dollar amount would be a lot higher than if you put your money in that now before inflation rises. Now, how much is enough silver for you? After viewing the SSS thread favorites, got me wondering, assuming the answer isn't all the silver, how much do you personally think is enough to stack? That being said, I think there's a difference between stacking bulk ounces and collecting coins, sets, and rounds, which is very important to take note of. So, let's look at this. Now, I'd love for you to answer this as well. This guy says, and this is on Wall Street Silver, or this is Silverbucks. This isn't Wall Street Silver. It's another Reddit subreddit. But guy says, I joke that I'd like to have my whole body weight in silver. That gives me 2 goals to shoot for. 1, to have a real number in mind, and to second, lose weight to help reach that goal. Oh my gosh. What a great comment. That is funny. That is really funny, actually. Clever. But all seriousness, if you weigh 160 pounds like me, 160 pounds of silver, I can't even imagine. I mean, that's a lot of silver, right? Anyways, let's keep on moving on. This guy says, when I can lay upon it like a dragon, I'll be done. That's funny. This is a good point. Totally agree. I typically have my collection stuff for short-term flipping and then bulk generic crap for the long-term flip. And yes, because a lot of these high premium or AKA semi-numismatic coins appreciate a lot faster. They're called quick flippers, right? You have the long haulers and then you have the quick flippers. The quick flippers flip the coins and then use the profits to buy cheaper silver to add to their weight. So you're basically just kind of using a cheat code to add more ounces without actually putting money out of your pocket from a paycheck. You're using your own stack to earn more ounces. So anyways, this guy, I was asked recently how much I'd end up buying total and completely ran flat of an answer, right? And that's a good point. It's sometimes we just don't think about this stuff. Just like when I asked, what price are you going to sell at? A lot of people don't think about that. Is it $100 you're going to sell at? You're ready to, to let go, or is it $1,000? Because if you don't think about that, then when that price is there, you might panic sell because you haven't. Yeah, and this is the same thing with going into a coin shop. When you're going to buy, have a price that you're not going to go above. Because if you're in that situation, you're going to impulsively buy because you're not thinking things through. You have to think about it before you go in. If you don't have a number, you might just impulsively, make a bad purchase, which happens a lot. If you go in and say, I'm not spending anything more than $25 per ounce, or only keep cash on you and only go in with as much cash as you're willing to spend, because a lot of times we'll overspend. So anyways, this guy says it's fairly vague. I mean, $50,000 worth, $100,000 worth, enough to retire on. I guess it depends on silver's value, right? I mean, this is a very complex question, but just to make it easy, the basic version is it 1,000 ounces? Is it 5,000 ounces? What is your goal? Now, I'm stacking while I can. If silver goes up, I'll buy less. If silver goes down, I'll buy more. That being said, I think there's a difference between stacking bulk ounces, collecting coins. He says, I do both. I stack generic stuff and higher premium collectible stuff. Will it ever be done? At some point, yes and no. If it's a series that comes out in new design, then, then when you keep buying till they stop offering it, you can move on to another series that you want to collect that you might have not gotten from the beginning. And yes, I mean, a perfect example is like the Lunar Series. It's basically done with the Lunar Series 2, but there's also the Queen's Bee series that's still ongoing, or the America the Beautiful. But regardless, I definitely think diversification is key, since if you only have generics, your entire stack is pegged to spot price. So if spot price is still $25 in 20 years, your stack hasn't appreciated a single penny. But if you have some of these higher premium semi-numismatic coins, those are detached from spot price and will appreciate regardless. So anyways, let's look at this. A rule of thumb, people sometimes state, is it to have 6 months salary and savings before investing in anything else? And that's a good point. That's a really good point. A lot of people say, don't even invest in a silver until you have money stacked in your bank account, because as soon as a medical bill comes up or an emergency, you're going to end up selling that silver, and then, for whatever you have to cover if your car breaks down, and then rebuy that silver, usually at a higher price. So it is nice to learn how to save money and learn the value of a dollar before you get into silver. But a lot of people, buying silver is the easiest way for them to save. So it kind of goes both ways. So anyways, a lot of these answers, like they bring up good points, but we're trying to look at how much silver do you need. Here we go. Have long held stacking ounce goal of 1,000 ounces of silver and 5 ounces of gold. Oh, that's a really good point too. Is what's the ratio compared to gold? Is it every 100 ounces of silver you get an ounce of gold? I know that's a ratio a lot of people use. But you also got to remember that 1 ounce of gold is basically worth 100 ounces of silver. So if you're more of a silver stacker, maybe do every 100 ounces of silver get like a quarter ounce of gold. I think that's more realistic for a silver stacker. Because if you're just doing, because I mean the gold to silver ratio is what, like 80 to 1? So if you're buying an ounce of gold every 100 ounces of silver, you're basically investing into gold and silver at the same rate. So anyways, let's keep going. And another thing is, a lot of people are never going to sell. A lot of people are just going to keep buying until until they're ready to pass it down to their kids or grandkids. So that's a good point as well. And I've actually made a poll before and asked when you're going to sell, and a lot of people said they're never going to sell. For me, I'll sell, but I'm not going to sell a lot of my collectible coins. Like the generics and stuff, I don't care about that stuff. There's no sentimental value. That's the stuff I'll let go. But when it comes to, some of my graded coins, the Moon Festival Pandas and the Lunar Series, I'll probably never sell that stuff. But I did get several of the same year of the Lunar Series 2, so I can sell some but still have my favorite years or that collection as myself, for myself as well, but still make the profit. So yeah, I'm curious. I'm really curious, what is yours? What is yours? What is your what is your answer to this? How much is enough silver? And we could actually bust out the calculator too. This is when we really can look at things. So let's say you have 1,000 ounces. Your goal is 1,000 ounces. If you sell at $100, that's $100,000 that you would be making. But a lot of people might not have anywhere near 1,000 ounces. $100,000 is a nice amount of money, though. But let's say your goal is, let's say 1,000 ounces, but you sell at $50. That's obviously $50,000. Now that's a nice amount of money, but for some people that's not enough to retire. So let's say your goal is 5,000 ounces. Obviously, this is someone that's been stacking for years, but when you stack, it does add up pretty quick. And you're going to sell at, let's do something real quick. Say you sell at $25, that's $125,000. But let's say you sell at $50, that's $250,000. And if you sell at $100, that's $500,000. That's a lot of money. but the possibility of silver even going above that's still pretty realistic. So, if you're investing over these years and you can put some weight, I mean, we're talking about some high numbers here. Now, obviously, you would have to calculate how much you purchased for each ounce. It's not like you just made $500,000 profit, but at the end of the day, that's how much money you would be walking away with if you did sell your entire stack. So anyways, yeah, I'm going to wrap this video up here. I'm just curious what you guys and gals think and what your answer is, or if you have any other ways like that one guy said in my my weight in silver, or this guy just says my target's 1,000 ounces. Then I'll look at the price and reevaluate. May take me a few years to get there. And another good thing is to think about it like this: stack within yourself. You might be washing dishes, making minimum wage, so only stack what you can afford. If you see the guy that's buying 100 ounces plus a week or a month, don't try to follow him, because he probably has a much higher paying job or is going off of his retirement or whatever. You don't know their situation. And that was the thing I used to have a problem with, is when I first started. I was very young. I was washing dishes, and I would watch channels like Silver Slacker unboxing like 1,000 ounces in one video. And I wanted to be like that, but I couldn't afford that. So I was spending like 75% of my paycheck. And, it was I had to learn the hard way, basically. So yeah, stack within your own means. So yeah, I'm going to wrap this video up here. If you did enjoy this video, if you thought it was educational, informational, at least entertaining, make sure to hit the like button. I post daily videos. Thanks for tuning in. Go enter my silver giveaway. May the luckiest stackers win. This is Silver Slayer. Thanks for tuning in. I'll see you guys soon. Peace.